let's just say hello to everyone. First, Brian's Tech
What's up,
Therapy,
guys?
FOMO here. We're talking about making your Samsung S95D, S95F better by peeling off the screen coating. First, is it hard? Is it easy? Is it worth it? Is there improvements there? And so what I wanted to do was share with you my experience first. So we have some context, right, Brian? So Brian has some experience with our guest and viewer, Luke, who apparently does this for a living, right? He's the man. But before we get into any of that, let's just see what happens when a complete amateur tries it out. Samsung's latest anti-glare, anti-reflective matte coating has been controversial. Purists hate it, and gamers avoid it. But why? Well, it reduces the contrast, noticeably so, right? In my comparisons next to a G4 or a G5 or a Sony, you'll notice that that anti-glare coating, it feels like the contrast is just a little bit less than the other TVs, which don't have the matte anti-glare. So that's in a bright room. Now, more importantly, some say that maybe the brightness might be affected. And so what if? What if we can peel off that coating and unleash the full power of QD OLED? So today I'm sharing with you my personal experience peeling off this coating from my benchmark reference TV, the Samsung S95D. I'll walk you through how I did it, what went wrong, what went right, and whether the image quality improvement is actually worth it. The goal? Better contrast, deeper blacks, and a little bit of brightness. But before we get into it, a few very serious warnings and caveats. First, if you value your warranty, don't do it. Now, of course, my warranty is already over, right? I got this over a year ago, and so now I can have fun with it. Second, once you start, there's no turning back. Once you start peeling and you go, you know what? This is not for me. There's no pushing it back in. It stays off. So do not start unless you're ready to finish. Beginning with step number 1. Replace the white gloves with black rubber ones. Yeah, the cloth gloves are great to keep fingerprints off the TV, but it doesn't have grip. It's very slippery. This will help you grip the plastic better and it protects the screen as well. Then start at the very top corner. I'm right-handed, so I started with the top right corner, working that edge gently to lift that pointiest corner, working it. Once I had that corner off, then it begins. And this is the point of no return. I began pulling that matte layer back, slowly, methodically. Yes, I sped it up, so it looks like I'm doing it quickly, but I'm actually doing it very slowly, centimeter by centimeter. Even that is being generous, maybe quarter inch by quarter inch. And yep, this is the rip I'm talking about. Already there's a rip. And then here, it tore again here and here. Brittle. This thing does not come off cleanly. And here's the thing, if you notice, the first 6 inches are quite easy. But as you get closer to the center of the screen, oh man, it gets harder and harder to peel off. About 45 minutes in, only 25% complete. Not gonna lie, I thought this would take only 45 minutes to an hour. It looks like it's gonna take me all day. Maybe a blow dryer might help, warm it up a bit, loosen the adhesive. Now there is no adhesive residue stuck to the screen. So it's some kind of a self-sticky on the coating, the matte screen itself. It leaves nothing behind on the actual TV screen. All right, now that I'm tired, let's do a quick check of the image quality. Any difference in contrast and brightness? A little, maybe, but clearly there's a reflection. I can see myself, you can see me, but not as drastic an improvement as I had hoped. Probably because I'm only a quarter through. So here's my mid-process verdict since I'm only 25% of the way through. Would I do this again? Absolutely not. I'm seeing the gloss, I really like it, but is it improving my experience? I'll let you know when this is all done and I run through some tests. And I'll use this TV to compare with the S90D, which really is a glossy version. More importantly, would I recommend you all try it? It's not for the faint of heart. So I would say no, because it looks simpler than it really is. I mean, just a quarter of the way through, I'm already tired. Now, with that said, why am I still going? Well, because I promised the wife and kids I'm doing something amazing with my TV. It's going to be so improved. It's going to be awesome. And when I'm done, you're going to have the best TV ever. And if they see this when I bring it home, I'll be laughed out of the house. So I got to finish it. Wish me luck. I'm going to get a blow dryer and getting back in there. All right. Oh, wait.
I love
He's not here
these
yet.
trailers.
Wait, wait. I took the wrong guy off. There we go.
So quick, let's so before you obviously shared your experience. Let's give the context of what actually happened. Now Luke is actually in the chat. It's he is ACH1LL3US. Now, Luke was at our spring event where we compared the G5, G4, S95F, and the S95D.
Yeah,
Now,
just
Luke
two
came in. He
weekends
brought a
ago. Can
console.
you believe it? It's only been 2 weeks.
It's only been 2 weeks, but Luke was there, and he was actually looking at and this is important to know why Luke went about this, is that he was looking at the TVs, and he saw he spent about 6 hours with us, and he saw the matte screen, and he actually saw the strengths of it. He actually said to himself, okay, you know what, I can see where this is a benefit. It's actually pretty amazing for what it does, especially in gaming. And he did say to me, do you think this thing can come off? And I'm like, I'm not trying it. And he's like, all right. He was looking at the G5, then he's looking at the G4. He texted me later and said, I think I'm going to buy this. And then later on, he goes, I took the screen off. I was like, okay. So he started sending me pictures of the 55-inch, and then he went and got a 77-inch. So I put the video up, and he gave Plasma TV for gaming some extra footage I actually didn't have, but I thought the video was very even in terms of its discussion, FOMO, and it's important. Just like the discussion you just had. The anti-glare is good for what people want it for. It's there for a reason. But it is an enter at your own risk type of thing. And he bought the TV, and as I mentioned in my own video, FOMO, I think it's a shame that a lot of people aren't considering probably the best TV in the world because of this anti-glare coating. So I was simply offering an alternative if you're somebody who's willing to risk it. A lot of enthusiasts are willing to risk it, and that's where Luke, came in as the hero. And it's become a very controversial video. I'm getting a lot of love, a lot of hate.
A lot of love. Wait, no. Let's talk about the hate, because everyone loves you, but no one hates you until today.
I got.
So wait, what was your hateful comment?
I got how that. Can they hate you? The video was irresponsible. It's dangerous.
I'm like, you're jumping off a cliff.
I'm like, in all of YouTube. Even though I started the video saying I wouldn't do this, but the point is, to me, QD OLED is still the best technology in all of TVs, including even RGB mini LED. I think QD OLED is the best. And it's in my humble opinion that the flagship S95 has been crippled to some degree from its true potential, simply because that screen, as ratings.com did, a great video showing how the contrast ratio is affected not just by eye, but by measurements. So it's not just what we think with the light hitting it, even when the light doesn't hit it. There's Luke. What's up, Luke? That even when the light's not hitting it, FOMO, when I compared the G5 to the S95F in my video, which will be coming out tomorrow, the S95F just couldn't get there. It couldn't hit the specular highlights. It just couldn't hit it. It was very bright, but it felt like something was stopping it. And I was in a pretty dark room. So would I notice that if the G5 wasn't next to it? But I feel like if the S95F didn't have that coating, the S95F would be the winner. And I do think Samsung would have won the TV shootout last year without that coating.
Now, can we pause there? Because you said, what if the S95F didn't have that coating? And the question is, isn't that the Sony Bravia 8II that we're going to have a comparison this weekend, right?
You
that
just won't call it. So you guys know, FOMO refuses to call it the Mark II. And real quick.
Wait, Brian. Let me set this up because, and this is inspired by you, right?
Captain.
This is my metaphor. Calling the Bravia 8 Mark II as the successor of the A95L is like it's like Chevy saying the Corvette was awesome. We have the next generation Corvette. We're gonna call it the Chevy Chevette Mark II. Like, wait, what happened to the what happened to the Corvette? No. Forget the Corvette. This is better than the Corvette. It's the Chevy Chevette Mark II. Well, what happened to the Chevy Chevette Mark
No,
what? Oh, it was crap.
it's the Gremlin.
The
It's the
Gremlin
Bugatti
Mark
Gremlin.
II.
So when we were in Japan, real quick side story, when we heard the naming, I was like, what? Is it really called that? And then when I did a video on the Bravia 8 versus the S90, everyone's like, clickbait! That's clickbait! I'm like, I didn't put Mark II. Even when we spell out Mark II, it's actually Bravia 8, capital I.
Right.
It's not
Because
LL
Google doesn't
lowercase.
recognize the, and I mean, okay,
Hi,
so
Lisa.
Mark II, right? The number 2 is the number 2, but when you put II, what does Google see? Literally the letter I, because it's Roman numeral II. And so to help the SEO out for Sony on Sony's behalf, I call it Bravia 8 II. So when you hear it, you'll either type 2 eyeballs, I, E-I, E-Y-E, E-Y-E, or the letter I. But if you type in the number 2, you're going to get the Bravia 2. And Brian's like, I ordered the most amazing TV. What the hell is this? It's a Bravia 2, which is even more confusing, right? Because there's a Bravia 8 Mark II, and there's a Bravia 2.
The Bravia 8, someone's going to go to the store and go, I know what's going to happen. Because it did happen to us a couple years ago with somebody buying the wrong TV. They're going to go, I just got a Bravia 8. Dude, that's a great cut. Corey, what's up, bro? They're going to say, I got a Bravia 8 for like $1,000. It's amazing. It looks
or a Bravia 2, a Bravia 2 without the 8 before it, because it is a Bravia 2. Yeah. So, but we'll have that this weekend. But Brian, back to the amazing TV that is the glossy S95D that our friend Luke has.
So when you're talking to Luke, Luke wouldn't be on camera, but if you watch our live stream, Luke was literally the one playing the video games while Fomo and I were on camera. And I knew he was a hardcore enthusiast and a PC gamer. And also what I love about having him and Tony, who was also part of our communities, our shared communities, is you're seeing two other enthusiasts give their opinions. Now, Luke obviously has had monitors, he's had TVs, and I saw him warm up to the anti-glare. He saw what it was really doing in real time. And then he still looked at the G5. And then what I love about it, and then he still went home and bought one and took the screen off. What I didn't know is Luke has a lot of experience doing this. And apparently the lack of polarizer makes it easier than he's done them in the past. So I think Luke is looking to do this probably on maybe
as a career, as a life-changing career.
Well, there's definitely people that want this. But real quick, before you guys get any crazy in the comments, if anybody in the comments likes the matte screen or the anti-glare,
there's a lot of people who like it. By the way, I'm looking at the comments.
So this treatment is actually like a Steam Deck. It's not more money. They consider it an addition. So you guys think that it's more money because of the matte screen? It's not. The price is not going up because of the screen. That's a misnomer. They look at it as a luxury option because a lot of people don't like glare. So if you're in there and you say you love the matte screen, do not be afraid to say that, because there you go, boom. And I'm telling you, with gaming, at times it looks like a freaking painting. And I think Luke could agree. It looked like a painting. So what's up, Plasma? Yeah, well, I'll just say this. They do not do it to their TVs. I'll tell you that. So I told Wendy and Robert, and Wendy's like, we're not doing it. And it won't be in the shootout that way. So I'm letting you guys know now. It will not. Yeah, Luke, you're bad news, bro. And in my video, I put Luke as Luke Skywalker with the green lightsaber.
But now let's talk about just the general experience. So now that I have some experience, I'm not done yet, but a lot of the comment, and Bush Green mentions this emphatically, the gloss is very gloss. So I don't know if it bothers you, Luke, And to me, it goes, wow, that's a mirror-like finish. So for those of you who complain, oh, the TCL anti-glare, it's not as good as the LG or whatever. Okay, I'm telling you this right now. This is a mirror. It's like a beautiful mirror. Like everything, no matter how dark your room is, right? A fly is behind me and it's reflecting off of a distant moon. You're going to see that
or for
fly flying behind you.
or for you're gonna smile and be like, "Oh my god!" Or your glasses are gonna be on there, like, "What the hell?" In the
I
dark.
know you'll see your glasses floating around now. But let's talk about forget the glare part, right? The actual improvement. So I have it partway through. I did a little more work earlier. So I started this morning. So I was hoping to finish it by the time of our stream, so I can give you guys a full hey, right? I never got after 2 hours. I'm maybe like a third of the way through now, and I discovered many things, which is this screen, this anti-glare and the matte screen, it's very, very brittle and fragile. Now, when you start, it feels really tough, but as it gets bigger and bigger, it rips very easily. And I know a lot of people tried this and they share it on AVS forums, and it people don't realize it's not like your screen protector on your phone, which is nearly impossible to destroy. You can tear that thing. That's not
Yeah.
this screen. It's not a screen protector like that. It's like wax paper, right? If you guys bake wax paper, not as bad, but I'm telling you, your strength to pull this is easily strong enough to tear it apart because that's the
So
strength it
FOMO.
takes to pull it.
So if you watch Luke's video, the one that was in mine, he did like a quick time lapse one. You can see that what he was doing with the gloves, and he had a mask on too, which I should have told you to wear because there is a glue to it. Was that he was literally holding the screen and like literally not the frame, but be able to little by little do it, and he sped it up. But clearly, Luke looked like an auto body guy. Like his precision,
Yes.
he's clearly done it. So I think where you were pulling in one way, he probably was pulling in 10 different ways to get it evenly off because
Hmm.
he didn't seem to have any tears. He actually went and teared it in half so he could see the half of it on and half of it off. So he clearly has experience doing this. But he's a legend, man. I mean, the comments that Luke got was like, let's build a monument for him. It's the same as curing cancer.
Well,
Um,
look, you bring up a great point that I would say Luke is an expert because he's done this with monitors as well. And so it's kind of like the guy who wants to save money doing his own tinting on his car. And
oh,
he's
yeah.
driving around with bubbles everywhere. Like, what happened? I tried to do it myself. And then by the third car, he's like, you know what? Here's $1,000. I give up, right? So
Yeah,
here's me
you
trying to
too.
tint my car with the bubbles and everything. And so
Yeah.
FOMO, are you saying it's a bad idea to strip off that layer? It's a hobby. So if it's the journey, not the destination. If your journey is, you know what, I'm starting a YouTube channel, I want to get a few views, I'm going to make a video about this. I got it. But if you're actually doing this to improve a TV, I haven't done it, finished this. I'm not going to say it's improved, but I have my doubts. And well, Brian, let's just say for the sake of argument, Brian, and we have some super chats which up into that. Thank you so much for being patient. But I had to ask Brian, if someone offered you this service, because I know you wouldn't want to do it yourself because you don't trust yourself like me. I no longer trust myself to finish
I'll
this,
break it in half. I'll
but
break
I'm
the
going to do
TV in
it,
half.
right? But let's say, 3 years from now, Luke is world renowned. He says, hey, Brian, I see you have the S95D sitting in a corner still. You want me to go in there and start picking it off for you? Would you do it?
Hell yeah.
Why?
Yeah. I mean, so I fully believe, only because I've seen the videos that Luke has sent me, and there's no way around it, that that anti-glare, not to your point, FOMO, it's probably the glossiest TV in the planet right now because
Hmm.
there's no treatment on it at all. Now it's not raw, again, from what Luke told me. It's not like you pulled it off and there's circuits underneath it.
Pixels falling off of the TV. Oh, put it back, put it back. Is this an OLED? What the hell is this?
You're like, oh my god, is that
It's
like
falling on the
what was
floor. I gotta pick it up.
that? FOMO. I had a flashback of like Light Bright. Remember Light Bright?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god. Oh.
Dude,
So
if that started happening, that would be YouTube gold. Me picking up pixels and trying to put it back. And like,
so
I don't understand.
yeah, I mean, so for an example, FOMO, if the you know what's funny? This conversation is perfect because if the S95F 83 was QD OLED, I would have had this decision to make because I would be buying it. It's not QD OLED, so I already bought the G5. Would I have done that to my own TV? I think I would have, honestly.
Hmm.
I don't like the tint that is on it. What I saw was like a brownish tint in real time, and
Hmm.
even in this room, FOMO, it gets dark, but that tint was evident in Value Electronics.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think when it's pushed, it's amazing. I think when it's pushed too far, it's horrible. And I think sometimes when it's just there benignly, it looks bad. So I probably would do it. Now, the reason I think you're frustrated with it is because, and I'll share this with all you guys, as content creators, we do not have time for this kind of stuff. So
No.
FOMO's literally trying to take this off before we go live, right? While he's editing yesterday's video, I'm editing tomorrow's video. We have plans this weekend to film, but if I was an enthusiast, even with a big job, I think little by little I would have a good time with it and I would figure it out. But I think for us, and I know this from experience, FOMO, when someone says, hey, just do this quick on a PC, if it doesn't work out for you and I, we're like, oh my God, because we really only have a few minutes. It's not to say we're busier than you guys. We're just busy doing your hobby, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
we don't have the same time. So for us, he literally did it all day. And I think Luke said his took him about 10, 15 minutes. But Luke's obviously been doing it a long time. And I think FOMO's being more careful. This wouldn't go very well, FOMO, if you end up having light cracked. It didn't work. So
Pixels
I
falling
appreciate
off on the
the
floor. Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you for the super chat, Yodito. This is a great
How you
question.
doing?
The S95D, my reference TV from last year before I peeled off the matte coating, cheaper than the G4 where I live. Choose from me. Okay, so I don't know where you live, but you have other things to consider. So in the USA, you also have a 5-year panel replacement warranty. To some people, that's important. Number 2 is Dolby Vision. To some people, that's important. And lastly, WebOS versus Tizen. I personally like Tizen, so it's a wash for me. I would choose the S95D because I felt that its color saturation and color luminance notably better. But then that's because I watch a lot of different content and for Gala and a lot of the bright HDR. But if it was just normal streaming, so let's say, Yodito, you're my family, friends, grandparents, and they normally watch all types of shows, Netflix, Disney Plus, all of that, I'd get the G4 because they look identical, in my opinion. If you watch all that stuff, including sports, sports is actually brighter. And I felt the G4 had better audio. And for me, I know family
Out of
members,
those,
they all use TV audio. None of them have a soundbar. So given that, the S95D's audio is just anemic at best. And so get the G4, it's a safe bet, and it gets bright. And if you watch a lot of sports like, let's say, football, soccer, hockey, for sure the G4 will show that brighter than the S95D is capable of. And I understand the S95D's strengths, but you have to be watching content that takes full advantage of it. So, and of course, if you're in a bright room with glare, maybe that matte screen might be important to you. That's something you have to decide too. What are your thoughts, Brian?
yeah, UDO, it's really, to expand on what FOMO was saying, it's really quality of life stuff too. Are you a fan of Tizen? Do you like the design? Because the G4 and the S95D, the G5 and the S95F, you can't lose. I mean, they are so close, and where one might be a little brighter in one shot or have a little more color, the very next shot they trade back the other way. I think the matte screen, if you could utilize that and check out our videos on it, if you have lamps in a room, it's actually phenomenal. And
Hmm.
that's with your regular content. So
Yeah.
if you like the screen, you can't. My point is, you're not comparing S95D to a mini LED. They're both equal. So think about look up the specs and think of quality of life features like Tizen versus LG's. What's LG's thing called? I keep forgetting it. Their
WebOS,
OS,
WebOS.
yeah,
Yep.
WebOS, and go from there. But you're really, and also keep in mind, Yurito, you have a gapless wall mount on the G series if you want to do that. If you want that to be flush, you have that option where you won't have that on the S95. Now, if you go too big, you're not going to have a stand. So there's
Yep.
that option. So there are little things that you take into account, but you're really going to win either way, no matter what you pick, my friend.
And of course, if you're a gamer, I forgot to mention, if you're a gamer and HGIG is your thing, G4 does very well with active HGIG, but then the S95D is brighter in SDR gaming. So gaming is this whole other beast. That's why we didn't really talk about it. But yeah, thank you for the super chat. And Jorge Duran, thank you for the super chat. 83-inch, 85-inch high-end OLED or 98-inch QM8. Mainly watching sports, movies, and some gaming. Darker room about 10 feet away. So 98-inch from 10 feet away, the immersion is significant. It's a big jump. And if you mainly watch sports and movies and you're on access, the 98-inch QM8, I think 10 feet away, it looks phenomenal. The only thing is, OLED is the best image quality. So everyone else in the room who's off angle, so you're centered, but you have people, over there, right? Then they're not going to have the same color saturation as you do. And I think the image processing on LG's high end is still a slight step ahead of the QM8. But with all that said, my wife, would prefer the 98-inch because she doesn't notice the little things I notice. So back to you, Jorge. How much of an enthusiast are you? Because that size immersion, even with a slight drop in image quality, that immersion really makes an impact. So depending on who your audience is watching, you're just watching Netflix and Disney Plus and some sports, get the 98-inch QM8. You're going to love sports on that. So my recommendation is nothing brighter and better than Netflix, Disney Plus, and a lot of sports. I think 98-inch is fine. It'll look great. What do you think, Brian?
Now, Jorge, the question that really kind of comes back to you, if you have the space and you desire something that size, the best TV in the world that's 83 inches can never get larger.
Right.
So if you have the space and you want a TV that big, don't look back and just go with the 98, because I can get you the best 83-inch in the world, but if it's too small, depending on your room, now the 83-inch is too small for this room. So if you make that purchase and it's not big enough, I don't care how good it looks, because if that was the case, we'd all be rocking 55-inch QD OLEDs, or actually all reference monitors for 30 grand. So if you need the size, I would not think about it and just go with the QM8. QM8's excellent, and if, like any other mini LED, the larger you go, the better it is. So I would go with the QM8 if you need the size. If it's too big and it'll look odd in your room, then grab an 83-inch G5 or an 85-inch, probably Bravia 9. But if you need the size, I always tell that the TV cannot get larger.
Nope, absolutely not. Now you don't need the brightness because I'm.
But Jorge, if you go to OLED, you're not leaving OLED. So unless you've been there before, go right to mini LED, because I'm not leaving OLED until RGB mini LED takes me to another planet, which we'll see.
We'll see. And thank you for your generosity, Night Cypher. He's having fun with us. He had some comments out there. And we know you all.
He's at S95C. I think he's at S95. Wait, Cypher, S95C?
S95C. Yep. Or S95C or S? Yeah, that's what I think he said, right? But yeah, no, we know, Cyber. Awesome. Okay, and of course, you can ask anything, right? We're talking about modding TVs today, mostly because of Luke's daring deeds that we noticed. And more importantly, are there other ways to mod your TV? Because we mod everything, right? Meaning enthusiasts, whether it's modding your PC, modding your car, whatever, you have a golf club, you put little stuff on the golf clubs to help you golf better. So, or tennis rackets, right? You have those shock absorbers in your tennis rackets. Now, there are degrees to modding your TV, because some things you can hopefully go back from. Like people go into the TV settings, the service menu, and they've been doing that for the last 2 years now with the S90D or S90C generation, right? Where they attempted to bring it up, make it bright as the S95C, and of course, Samsung quickly they limited access to the service menu to do that. But, modding is a thing. So we'll ask you guys, if warranty wasn't an issue, let's get out of the way, because a lot of people don't want to do it because if they screw up, it violates the warranty. But let's say there is no warranty issue, but it is irreversible, because there are two types of mods. Reversible mods and irreversible mods, right? The irreversible mods are the ones that brick your TV. You're like, wait, the TV's a brick. Nothing works anymore.
So
or what I did, right? I have little plastic stuff on my TV. I can't stop. I can't put it back. I gotta finish it.
So,
Right?
so FOMO, when we're at Value Electronics, right, and when they're breaking a TV in for Dwayne to calibrate, and there are times where they've taken the plastic off for me because everybody who watches it are like, take the plastic off. Do you know how hard it is to just put that protective thing back on? It's like there's no way it doesn't like get caught on your arm, and then it gets caught on the
Mm.
screen, and it gets caught in the
No,
corner.
dust. Forget that. And then you got dust on it. You have
Now
dead
you're actually
bugs. You
you're
put it
putting
back. Is that a
like, where the hell
fly?
did this stand come from? Oh
Oh,
man! But it
yeah.
was. But I'll tell you this, guys. I'll tell you this, Luke. Now, Luke, whenever if you get another one, or you go to a friend's house, because I think you might be in Connecticut. If you're in Connecticut, let me know. I'll meet you, and we'll film it. We'll film it.
Oh,
Maybe I'll talk
to
Robert.
that point, Classic called me and said he's going to be calibrating Luke's TV to see if peeling off the coating affects calibration. Because remember,
Oh, I'm sure.
Samsung has
Stay
to
tuned.
calibrate it with the coating on and make the
Yeah,
color compensations. Now that you peeled it
yeah,
off,
Luke.
the
So Luke,
compensation is gone. So
I'll
it'll be
call.
interesting.
So Luke, I'll call you today or tomorrow, and we'll plan something. And maybe I know Robert has an S95D. I highly doubt he'll let us take the screen off it. But if you do a client or something, I'll meet you and we'll do it. We'll film it. I think it's now. Look, it was not easy. I'm not controversial. I didn't really know if I should have done the video. I just think that knowing Chirag from Samsung Display, knowing this technology and how amazing it is, because FOMO and I, when you're in the industry, you get to see Samsung Display's version of QD OLED. And nothing from Sony or Samsung comes close to what Chirag and that team shows us. The jump between generation 2, 3, and 4 is absurd. I mean, it's absurd. And you never get a chance to see it when it comes home. I think the TVs are held back, FOMO, maybe burn-in, who knows.
Right.
But when they started doing this treatment, I knew what they were doing. They were doing it and that's why it's on the highest end, guys. It's considered a luxury thing. Hi, Lisa. So it's considered a luxury thing, and they're selling a ton of TVs because of this. If you ask the average person who's not an enthusiast, they're going to tell you, dude, the glare is killing me. I hate the glare. I can't watch TV. Now, we're just used to it, but I'll tell you, FOMO, when you and I were at Samsung, I was looking at these treatments all day. The minute we saw the Q80 at 100 inches, the glare was making me crazy.
I know.
I had to have
I
them
was
close the door.
doing jumping jacks, ruining your video, right?
Somebody opened the door and you could see the freaking door go. And that was in the dark. So I
Hmm.
understand. I know Samsung has not reached out to me. I'm sure they're not thrilled with it, but I gave, in my opinion, the most balanced account. I showed you the strengths of the anti-glare. I told you right off the bat, I don't even know it's gonna avoid it, I'm guessing.
You
But I
know,
want to be able to give the enthusiast the ability to make a choice.
well, I want to
And
stop you there. Just the
stop me.
enthusiast, right?
Yep.
If you're an enthusiast, why not get blackout curtains? So Murza is responding to the comment, well, if you have blackout curtains and you control the glare, doesn't that mean that you max the TV's performance despite the issues of the matte coating? And Murtaza says, it increases the clarity. Blackout curtains don't solve that. And so Brian and I did see that in some scenes, even if it's in a controlled environment, um, you do lose a little something. You do lose a little,
Yeah,
and not us, ratings have put together an entirely new methodology of measuring contrast. And they're saying even when there is no lighting on the outside, the lighting on the inside of the TV, meaning the TV itself interacts with the matte coating. So this is not to say that you guys can notice the difference, right?
yeah.
I always say the meter notices things you don't notice. It may be clear enough for you, but that just has to be mentioned that it does take away a little bit of something. The anti-glare is not perfect, but what it does solve is incredibly helpful for those who are distracted by the glare. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Well, and FOMO too. And I did bring this up because someone said, well, there are other options out there. And to be point blank, there are not other options out there. If you want the flagship QD OLED from Samsung, there isn't an option out there. The S90F is excellent and it comes very close. However, the tone mapping is better on the S95. The processing is
Yeah.
better on the S95. Last year's S90D was very good. The S90F or S95D was better. 165 hertz on the S95. It
Yeah.
is a better TV. So then you say, well, just go with Sony. I'm sorry. Sony has two HDMI 2.1, and Sony's going to hold something back for accuracy. They're not going to, and I'm sorry, if you're a gamer, other than console, even with console FOMO, we saw the presets on Samsung. There's Game Motion Plus.
Yeah.
So to say just get the cheaper one is not what an enthusiast wants. That cutting edge, best quality. Sony can't deliver that with the gaming or even their signature, and LG can't do it either. So it's really there is no choice. Hi
And
Matt and Bev.
I want to address this comment because rationally it is correct. You Praise fan says there is no reason that taking off this film would avoid a warranty for anything other than the screen. The electronics are not affected at all. And so this is always the catch-all issue with warranties, right? You're going to read the fine print. They find a way to hook in the entire warranty for anything you've done that what they describe as not within the designed use of the TV. So peeling off the coating has nothing to do with your HDMI port failing, right? The two are unrelated. But I am sure they'll find a way to pull out a catch-all provision in the warranty. You know what? Pulled out this coating, I'm not going to cover it. And then they're going to put the onus on you to file a small claims lawsuit. And they're going to bring out their attorneys, and you're going to walk up there, and the judge is going to have to decide. They know that if they reject all 1,000 of these for unrelated warranty claims, maybe 5 people will attempt to fight it, and they might get lucky and win, or they might not. But it's still a gamble that most companies, I'm not just going to say Samsung, most companies are not as friendly with warranties as you may think. So you're completely right. This is very rational. This is a very
Yeah.
rational reason. But if you guys have experience with warranties, they are very irrational.
Well, and for you Praise fan, you're probably right. And in my video, I said 100%. That really is my assumption. And I said that just to err on the side of this will probably be the case. Now, Luke has had one Connect box failures, and they just take the one Connect box back and he mails it out. But I'm just saying to you, it's really more about you could break the TV taking it off.
Oh, well,
And
you
that's
see
what
my
I'm telling
video.
you.
My thing was
Yeah,
bending, and I
yeah.
know
So
that I had it on a stand
oh,
because I thought it was
you
easier.
got,
But
you got
I
a
know it's like
curved
wobbly.
monitor. Someone's going to say this. They're going to go, hey, I didn't know the S95D was curved. Yeah, I got a new. Yeah, it's a good idea. Luke,
No,
it's a new design
it's
for you.
curved on one corner, just one corner.
So, hey, so Luke, do me a favor. Next one, I want you to bend the panel. Take off the screen
How
and bend the
far? See
panel.
if it pops back or not.
We'll have a curved S95. Hi, Mars.
Hey, thanks for the super chat, buddy. Hey, fellas, I have a 77-inch G2, but I'm considering getting the 83-inch G5. Is it worth the upgrade or wait for next year's flagship? So going from 77 to 83 is already the biggest upgrade. Going from a non-MLA G2 to a fully brightened next-gen brightness technology G5 is a big jump. But this is what I'm going to say. The G5 is first generation primary RGB OLED. Next year, G6, it will always be slightly cleaned up. They're going to find a way to make everything work a little bit better because first gen, like the G3 MLA first gen, the G4 next gen, a little bit better polished, right? The G5, as good as it is, we know that the G6 next iteration will be slightly better polished. So I would say either wait until next spring when the G5 drops in price, get a good deal, or wait until the G6 since you already have a G2. Now, if you need to get a TV now, I think the G5 is phenomenal. We've seen it in action and we're like, wow, this is such a good TV. And what you're getting is a size increase as well as a huge HDR impact bump. So what is your recommendation, Brian? Should he get the 83-inch G5?
I mean, so Mars, it's what FOMO just said. I think if you were going from 83 to 83, it's hard to recommend. Though I think it's a huge difference between the G2. The G3 and G4 were the MLA. So
Hmm.
the G2, I don't believe has MLA. I think it just had a heat
Nope.
sink and was a little bit brighter.
Hmm.
So I think you're going to see an appreciable difference. The G1 and G2 were slightly brighter, and they just had the more design Mars. But if you were still going 83 to 83, well, I'm going from a C1 to a G5, and I already bought it, so it's going to be. It actually ships tomorrow. So I would say go for it if you want the size. I don't really believe in waiting a generation simply because by the time you, here's what I'll tell you it's time to buy. If you don't, you're bumping into RGB mini LEDs.
And then you're gonna wonder,
And
wow.
then you're going to wonder. So I'm okay knowing I'll buy this TV and then in a couple of years if the art, but if I wait 2 years and all of a sudden that Samsung is affordable, then I'm like, oh crap. Do you see what I'm saying? So if you, and also if you feel that itch FOMO and you're not really happy with what you have that FOMO, baby, and just go get it.
Yeah,
Mars
I
was order
agree.
it. Just order
And
it. I mean,
Jorge has a follow up, and this may change our minds. So he was talking about the QM8 98-inch, right? And we were wondering if if he's coming from an OLED. I currently have the 65-inch Sony A95L, King of TVs, 2 years in a row, my friend, and I love it. So you
free,
should. So I'm guessing sticking with
soon to
OLED
be
would be the move.
four, and a
If
new.
if only I had $20,000. And I think so Jorge, I think you're right. Now, you can get LG's primary RGB to look very similar, right? Good calibration and they look very close. But at the end of the day, it does stop at 83 inches. If it only had 20,000, and he's referring to what the 100-inch RGB mini LED might cost. So Hisense released its 116-inch mini LED, RGB mini LED in China, and word is it's like 10,000 US dollars. Will they release it for that much in the US is a whole other matter because when they did it in China, right, the tariff thing didn't go crazy. So I don't think we'll be getting it for 10,000, but that just gives you an idea that they're not afraid of selling this TV at near cost. I mean, at 10 grand, I'm sure they're making something, but that's a
So
lot
yeah.
less expensive than I had expected. Now, in the US, it may end up being 20 grand after all, but that's crazy that the Chinese are able to get it for 10,000.
So FOMO, I would say if that TV is 10 grand, then RGB mini LED is just a mini LED. There's no way you're putting that. There's no way. Forget about the fact that it's RGB. It's 116 inches. The QM8 at 116 was 15 grand.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Hey,
It's impossible.
I'm hearing the phone ring. So let me pick it up
All
real
right.
quick. And
Then I'll do my introduction.
then you'll do your introduction. But before you do introduction,
Yeah.
I have to do my introduction.
Well, no, your introduction. I know how your introduction's gonna be. You're gonna be like,
Yeah.
hey, so
Now,
what do you think?
yeah, you're right. All right. So we have guest star Caleb in the house. Now, before we introduce, because a lot of you don't know who Caleb is, right? He's this guy that just started a YouTube channel. And for those of you who are just starting out and you're wondering, what TV should I get? I got $6,000, right? I keep on looking on YouTube, and this
This is
guy,
a
Caleb,
terrible,
he
terrible
keeps
introduction.
he keeps
I'm gonna
recommending
tell you,
TVs, right?
Caleb.
Before
No,
we talk
stop
about
speaking.
Caleb, though,
Stop,
no, he
stop
might even show
talking.
up.
Stop talking,
You didn't let me do my intro
Jesus,
for this
dude.
weekend.
That is terrible. You're awful
I,
at this.
I
You're an absolute
so
cyborg.
well, look,
You're
look,
really
Caleb's
an.
audio isn't working. You can't intro him, right? He's not ready yet. So anyway,
I
before we
am
bring in
now.
our friend Caleb, let's talk about everyone. If you're not doing anything this Sunday, April 27th, we are going to have the first ever showdown comparison between the Bravia 8II, otherwise known as the Chevy Chevette Mark II, against the LG G5, against the Samsung S95F, and we'll have the Sony A95L 77-inch there to compare so that you can see how the A95L compares to the G5 and compares to the new generation, its true successor, the Bravia 8II, and how the S95F's matte screen affects its image quality, because we'll have all four TVs lined up for you guys. And for 7 hours, yes, we'll do it again for 7 hours, we're going to have fun doing that comparison. That's this weekend on my channel, live stream, Sunday, April 27th at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Time. All right. Now, Brian, who is this guy
Now,
that's
can I
on your
go?
right?
Now, Caleb, I talked to you last night, and I told you FOMO was going to screw it up. He could have done that whole thing with you in the lobby. He has no idea how to do real showmanship.
No, I don't know how to use the lobby. The minute he comes on, I answer the
just
phone,
let him
and
hang
there he
out there.
is.
So real quick, before Caleb comes on, even though he's sitting here, Caleb, for myself and any content creator in the TV space, has watched him way before any of us created channels. He really started this whole TV review video platform. He started this, that all of us now do. We've all looked up to him. He's an icon in this industry. He is the last man standing. And I'm honored to have him here tonight. And as a dear friend and a colleague, a peer, but somebody that we still look up to, I'm so happy that Caleb has started a new channel, and it's called Caleb Rated, and it launched yesterday. Now,
wait. Let me change his name. Let me change his name so people can find it.
Then shut up and just change it. You don't have to say it. Just change it. But for Caleb to make this jump right now from 1 million subscribers starting over is not only brave, it's amazing. And it takes a lot of integrity and a lot of courage to do what he's about to do. And any of you that for some reason don't know who he is, which is absurd, you need to go to Caleb Rated right now. Don't wait. Go sub now. Hop out of here and just support him, because he is, again, an icon in our industry. And to see him go solo is going to really see him unleash, which I think is going to be incredible.
And
Chris, I'll tell FOMO. Hold on, Chris. I will tell FOMO what to do. Him and I are partners, so I will tell him what to do. So relax yourself. Anyway.
Well, unfortunately, Caleb lost his connection, so he clearly had an influence on people like KG. And I'll tell you this: before I bought my TV, I was doing research what TVs to buy. And of course, his videos popped up. And oh, interesting, where he has these reviews. And I was watching him as a TV reviewer before I started reviewing TVs. And the thing I always remember is he used to play the same scenes all the time. And at one point, he was so jaded. Ah, man, it's the damn lizard again, right? So, like,
we didn't know.
Because every review, he's using the same green lizard or green frog or whatever it was that he captured. And I love it because he was so sick of that green frog. Oh, there he is. Yeah. All right. Hey, Caleb. Sorry we lost you.
So again, you missed it. But the point I'm trying to make is that, those of you that are I know a few of you have already said that you've subbed. It took amazing courage to do what he just did. And the amount of stress and everything that he's doing. And Caleb, again, he's inspired all of us. Without further ado, the legend, the icon, Caleb Denison, welcome to the channel, my friend.
Oh, Brian, thank you. That was, first of all, just a really gracious intro. And second, I am so sorry that I dipped out there for a second. I'm trying a new live stream setup, which, by the way, we tested with audio. And that's when we discussed having a waiting room, and I would not look like a moron getting myself set up. We talked about 3 o'clock, and that we got in a little early on that. But I will say that the reason that I didn't have my audio ready to go was to pay tribute to FOMO himself, because that's usually his move. Start the live stream. Like, can you guys hear me? No, what's going on? It's silent. I just wanted to be part of that process with you guys and make sure I was on brand when I joined you today. And so I hope you appreciate that I did that for you. It wasn't for me or, really anybody else. No, jokes aside, that was a very gracious intro. I really appreciate that. And yeah, I'm not even sure where to start other than, I started in journalism a little over 16 years ago. I remember my daughter had just been born. I got laid off from Aperion Audio, the online speaker company. And I didn't know what I was going to do. So I ended up trying to write speaker reviews for this new website that had just come up. And one thing led to another. And the next thing you know, I am, on staff with this digitaltrends.com, and I saw a need to do some video. I wanted to do some video, so I started recording them by myself. This is before Marquez Brownlee, I think, had even uploaded his first YouTube video. And those first videos were absolutely awful. And one thing led to another. I kept pushing for video, even though like folks weren't really ready for it. I kept pushing for it. And yeah, over the years, built the channel, built it, and eventually got it up to 1.3 million subscribers. And yeah, leaving 1.3 million subscriber channel and a company that I spent the better part of 14 years with was a really difficult decision to make and very scary. And all I can say is that I just knew that it was time. I've been wanting to build my own brand a little bit more and run my own media company the way I, around my own personal ideals. And I've been wanting to do it for a while now. And I kept putting it off because I felt like, oh, I'm not quite ready, or, financially, I don't have a cushion, and really like to launch a business with a little bit of a financial cushion. And I just kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. And then something just hit me a few months ago, and I realized it's time. It's time to do this right now. And yeah, so that's what we saw yesterday was the launch of Calibrated. It is the flagship brand under my new media group that I've formed. There are going to be other channels, some of which I host, some of which others host, and they'll all be under the main media group. But Calibrated is me, right? It's what I've always put out there. It's my passion for video and audio. So not only are we going to be reviewing all of the TVs that I can get my hands on, not just the top tier TVs, but the mid tier and even some lower tier TVs, like what's worth buying and what's worth just never, ever putting a finger on. I want to do that stuff too, as well as the audio stuff, not just the home entertainment audio, but like the music listening audio. Yeah, so a lot is coming, but I want to let people know. I think the first thing I want to let people know is like Calibrated exists. I am not Digital Trends, and Digital Trends is not me. That's very confusing for a lot of people. Happy to talk about that a little bit. But Calibrated exists. It is my home. It is my channel. It is my main channel. And what you're used to seeing from this face, this brand, it exists at Calibrated. That's where it is now. That's where I am, and that's where I'm going to be doing what I'm doing. And you can expect to see the TV reviews start to flow here in the next week or two.
Well, Caleb, too, I think, being a friend of yours for the last number of years, it was always wish you had just a little more freedom to be able to just not give your honest opinion. You've always done that amazingly, but just also your emotional thoughts on things or how you feel about certain things. And I know being an editor and a journalist, that's not always been easy to be able to just put up a video quickly. When you have that kind of schedule and you had to map it all out. I can't wait to be able to not only collaborate with you, but to see you honestly just be free and have that pressure off of you. And I know you're going to be amazing. I think everybody in the chat loves you. And, Digital Trends, I think a lot of people thought you were Digital Trends because you were the face of that for as far as I knew. That's all I thought. I thought you were that. And I can't wait to see you just be you, man, and be the person that we all know off camera because you're even better off camera.
Thank you. That's really kind of you to say. I want to speak to some of the things that you mentioned there right now. Digital Trends is a big media group. At one point, we had over 70 employees spread out across the United States. Today, Digital Trends employs freelancers all over the world. It's not just Digital Trends, but that same media group has The Manual and Paw Tracks and a number of other different properties. And Digital Trends is made up by a bunch of people, and I will miss a lot of those people. There's some great people at that company, but it is it's a big company. Now, if you if you don't spend a lot of time going to websites and stuff, you get most of your information on YouTube. You get your how-tos and your guides and that kind of thing on YouTube, or you get it real quick through ChatGPT, or you get it through increasingly Google's AI snippet. Anytime you got a question, you put it in, it's right there. Maybe you're not going to websites as often anymore, but yeah, as far as the YouTube extension of that company, I was probably the most notable face, on that channel. And so I understand a lot of people don't distinguish me from Digital Trends, or vice versa, Digital Trends from me. And that's just the case. Digital Trends is a big, successful media company, and they do a lot more than just what I do and what I did while I was with them. But yeah, when you talk about freedom, another way of putting that is like ownership, right? When you work for another media company, the content that you create does not belong to you. And I think people forget that, right? Like you guys, you own your content. What you make, you own it, and you can do whatever you want with it. You can put it out there or not put it out there. You make the decisions about that, how you're quoted and what happens with your face, that kind of stuff. That's entirely up to you, right? When you work for another company, that's not the case. Now I will say Digital Trends was great about letting me build my own brand, and I do appreciate that they gave me some opportunities there. But the fact of the matter is, I didn't own while I was with Digital Trends, and this is true of anybody who works for a bigger company. The IP that you make does not belong to you, and that I don't know if everybody watching this live stream happened to see it, but I did a very emotional review on a set of speakers that Golden Ear made, the Golden Ear T66. Go look it up. I cry in the video. A lot of it had to do with my late father passing and a long history between us. It was one of the most personal, emotional product reviews. No, it was the most personal and emotional product review that I ever made, right? I don't own that. Digital Trends owns that piece of me.
Oh man.
And that doesn't, and let's be clear, I gave it to them. Okay.
Yes,
I knew what I was doing. I could have held off and not done that. I had a choice, and I made a choice, and I gave them that content. But that content, that very personal piece of which I can never really do again, right? You only do that kind of thing once in that way anyway. Doesn't belong to me. It belongs to another company. And so that was a moment where I realized that, I had feelings and ambitions and thoughts and wants and what have you that extended beyond my current situation, and I wanted to do something different. And that's what Calibrated is all about. It's me doing stuff the way I've wanted to do it, and guys, do it extremely well.
We've already put it the link in the chat. We'll put it in the chat a few more times. Felmo, if you can throw it in the chat too. I know a lot of you guys have already gone over and subscribed. That is the best way to help Caleb right now, is to just sub to the channel as he builds it. He's got a lot of content coming, right, Caleb? But we do need to get that subscriber count up for him. He had 1 million subscribers. We'll get you back there in no time. But please don't just listen. We have 450 in the chat. Let's get all you guys over there. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe to him. Right now, I'll put the link in now. FOMO will just put the link in there.
There's the link.
And
yep.
And this is a big chance that Caleb is taking. I think very few of us would be able to walk away. It's not just a YouTube. It's like any other job that you've been at a long time that you helped build. And he's walking away from that to start over. So that is very brave. And he's going to kill it. We know he's going to. But he does need our help, and he does need your help. And he's helped all of you. He's helped us very much. I'm not sure either one of us would be making videos if it wasn't for Caleb. I don't think anybody would be doing TV reviews if it wasn't for Caleb. So just show that support and just hit that subscribe button and show up for him, even though he's gone.
Oh, I was
pull him out. That's good.
He got emotional. So as soon as
it is a big. Yeah, it is a big thing for him, and we are all a team. A lot of us creators do collaborate. And a lot of us do hang out when you're not seeing us. So, is he back?
Oh, yeah. I think he may have internet problems. So as soon as he gets in. Now, I want to address one comment, which was that somehow Caleb leaving Digital Trends is disloyal, lacking integrity, and so forth. It's the same theme. And it has very little to do with either loyalty or integrity or any of that. Everyone has a career trajectory. Whether you're an attorney working for a law firm and you feel you're ready to take the next step, whether you're a physician working at a hospital, like, you know what? I want to run my own surgery clinic. Everything is a stepping stone as long as you do it with respect. And I have found Caleb to be incredibly respectful, the way he carries himself, as well as Caleb, I think your video is gone, so maybe you can hear your audio, but I don't have your video.
Can
So
you hear me?
maybe try and check your camera, Caleb, real quick. So I have you in, but no audio and no video. And so this applies to all people leaving their current employment for one, better opportunities to grow, two, try something different, right? If, and I don't know what his relationship with Digital Trends is, but it doesn't matter. If Caleb is ready to start his own thing and take ownership, he's actually leaving the protection of an employer who provides you with health insurance and all these things that employment gets you. It is actually an incredibly difficult move to leave a place of security to try something new. No health care, no health insurance, no money, right? There's no guaranteed income. And that's a path that everyone must decide for themselves. And now let's flip
Yeah,
it. How many employers mass layoffs of 10,000 people in the last
that's a
three
great
months?
point, Momo. Yeah.
Google, Apple, Microsoft, they don't call it loyalty. So loyalty works both ways, but in the world of employment, we should never use the word loyalty. It's always,
Yeah.
it's about paying your bills. And if you can't pay your
Well,
bills, then you've done your family a disservice.
and FOMO too. I think also when it comes to a content creator, or it could be on ESPN. You're talking about the talent. When you have the talent that's on screen, that's the face also, and that talent should be able to go out and create their own story. That's
Mhm.
not beholden to somebody else. So I think it's and no one stays at a job very long these days for a million reasons. But if it was the other way around, no one would say a word. But he is the talent, he is the face, and he's an artist, and he's a reporter. I mean, he's got a lot that he has to offer, and now he can do it unleash. What he shared about the speakers is beautiful, but heartbreaking because, as he said, that's organic. You can't get that back. And now he can have those moments and then say, I'll put that out or I won't. Either way, he can do that. But as
Yeah.
you're seeing the three of us up here, he's also part of this community. And we're all a community and we do work together and we do support each other. We don't see that in the workplace anymore. So we have a lot of love for him, but please continue to go back and subscribe to his channel and tell you he's going to kill it. Oh, he's
And
back. Caleb, what's up?
more important, Caleb, when is the IPO? You got prospective people waiting for the prospectus.
Well, for now, the plan is to keep the company private. I
All
think
right.
if we get it to a certain point and there's enough interest and demand, I'll consider it. I'll be honest with you though. One of the things that I loved about my former employer was that it was privately held. We got to make the decisions based on what we thought was best, and not at the behest of investors. I think there's some pros and cons to both being a publicly traded company and then being a privately held company. And I'll tell you this, I'll let the economy dictate what that's looking like when the time comes. But first off, let me back up. I'm so sorry that I disappeared on you. As great as the Sony ZVE1 is, it wanted to overheat on me, and so
Wait,
it
wait,
crashed
wait,
out.
wait. This a Sony camera overheating. Please say it ain't so.
That's the one I
I've been
use. It
having
never
fun.
overheats.
Well, I don't know that I have all of the settings correct on it, and also I had it
Oh,
up, and it's gotten a lot of use today. It has been a workhorse today. I love that camera. Let's make no mistake. The ZVE one is awesome, and I've got this incredible Sigma f 2.8 24 to 70 on it. I love that. What a killer rig it is. But but yeah, I'll also acknowledge that overheating when shooting 4K can be an issue. That's a no
Live
deal. We're
streaming,
not.
yes.
Yeah, we're
That's
not.
too
We're
tiny.
not saying anything that a bunch of people don't already know, right? Um, but I wanted to say a couple of things. One is, over the years, YouTube has been telling me through the back end of the channel that I was on, uh, who I share an audience with, right? And you guys see that too, on the back end of your own YouTube
Hmm.
channel. That's why I think you guys talk about the community so much, right? Is because you know who the community is. I share an audience with you guys. I share an audience with Andrew Robinson and a handful of others, and so I mean, you guys. A little bit of backstory. We've been together at several events. We talk as buddies when we're there. I always have a blast with you guys. And we've talked like if ever we talked in broad strokes, but the idea was if ever, I was to make a move or something like that, one of the first things I wanted to do was appear on your live stream with you guys and chat with your audience. And here we are. It's happening right now. Something that we've been talking about as just a possibility. It's some dream I had has finally come to fruition, which I think is an amazing thing. Um, but also like for everybody here who's watching, who's familiar with me, maybe is subscribing to the channel now, which I appreciate very much. It's just as important that you let others know in the other forums and the communities that you participate in, whether it's AVS forum or if you're involved in Reddit threads or whatever. um, if I may make my little pitch, guys, thank you so much again for the opportunity. But guys, spreading the word of mouth is what drives everything. I've seen that
Hmm.
in every industry that I've ever been a part of. Word of mouth is everything. And so to whatever degree you're comfortable doing so, please spread the word. It's not just about getting subscribers either, right? As you guys know, you don't get to monetize your YouTube channel until you've gotten 3 to 4 thousand watch hours, right? And so right now, Caleb Rated is not set up to make money for this business, and it won't until enough people have watched for enough hours and we can get all that stuff set up. Um, Also, the last thing I'll say, and then we can talk about whatever you want. You can ask me whatever you want. Um, because I can't monetize Calibrated just yet. I've noticed that some folks have gone to my Caleb Loves Tech personal kind of vlog channel and have like made very generous donations or super chats there because it is monetized, and that is a good way
Oh,
to donate to the cause. So if you want to do
oh,
that,
very cool.
Caleb Loves
Yeah.
Tech still exists. You're welcome to do so. I'm not asking you to. If that's not something you're comfortable with doing, no big deal. Look, I'm just happy to have you as an audience person. But if you've been wanting to contribute and people have actually said that I want to contribute, but I don't know how, right now that's probably the easiest way to do it is through the Caleb Loves Tech channel. It's just like a super thanks or a comment or a donation or whatever. So um anyway, guys, I'm happy to talk about whatever you want to talk about, but I want to say thank you again for having me. There have been a lot of times I wanted to pop in and chat with you guys in your live stream, and I really wasn't able to. And we'll just leave it at that. I have
Yeah.
freedoms now that I feel like I didn't really have in the past, and it's just such a pleasure to be here with you guys and chop it up and see your audience's comments and reactions and all that good stuff, and have some
Well,
camera
Caleb,
fails that embarrass me while I'm at it. That's also nice. I enjoy that very much.
yeah. Well, Caleb, I'll
Uh,
say, I first met you at the shootout that you were at, but we had talked off camera. I'll never forget the first time you commented on one of my videos. It was a reaction video of your video, and I was
Yep.
like, "Well, this isn't really Caleb." But no, it's really me. But meeting you for the first time, you were so down to earth, and that's so important when you see somebody who's been on your TV for so many years. And I met you, and you were the nicest guy, and that's why I was very happy for you to have this opportunity just to be. You've always been yourself, but people get a really chance to see you as you even are on this stream, you're better, even better off camera. And I can't wait for them to see more of you being you. And you were just so humble. I think for anybody that sees someone with a channel your size and to know that you're even better off camera is important. And just a great guy, and we're really happy. We spent a lot of time together at different events, but I'm very happy for you, and so is the community. Please go back and hit up Caleb's new channel. I'll continue to put it in the chat. I know a lot of you guys have already subscribed. Please don't just listen to us. Go ahead and check it out, and then whatever videos he drops, just attack them and watch them as many times as you can.
And normally the way YouTube works, if you watch our videos and we have common subscribers, they'll start suggesting Caleb's videos. So yay to the algorithm. That's one good thing the algorithm does. And
One of the few
I
good things, right?
yeah, right. Now,
Exactly.
there are some questions about your content moving forward. So two of them. And one of them I actually wanted to ask, because you kind of mentioned this, is your new channel is giving you more freedom. And what specifically is that freedom to do? Like, what were you not able to do on digital trends that you will be doing on your new channel? If that helps clarify things, like, because this freedom means your content will be more diverse, I assume. So what will you be doing differently on your channel that you weren't doing before, so that we can get people excited about this new version of you?
Um, well, I'm trying to think of the best way to put it. I think this might be the best way to put it. I get to make the decisions about how we keep the lights on around here, right?
Hmm.
I get to decide how to monetize. I decide what kind of promotional content I make. I get to decide what kind of brand deals I do and how those are executed, right? And in doing so, I mean, that's just a small piece of how I get to decide what content gets made, how it gets made, when it gets made. And also, I get to decide where the investments go, right?
Hmm.
So if I can put out another video per week, or if I could support another channel, with say a video per week on a new channel or something like that, where we explore vintage hi-fi stuff, for instance. I love
Oh yeah.
vinyl. I love tube audio gear. I love that I'm a musician and I love music. I could probably run a whole channel around that kind of thing, right? But in order to do that, that video has to get made, and I need support for that, right? So if I need another producer or editor to help me get another channel off the ground, I invest the money in making that happen. And then that channel becomes a reality and that content becomes a reality. That's an extension of what opens up some freedoms at Calibrated, right? I get to make the decisions around what content gets made and when it gets made. I get to focus on the stuff that I think is most important. Um, Obviously I need to keep the lights on myself, and so I'm going to want to make sure that I'm focusing on products that are of high interest, and I'm looking at the affiliate possibilities and that kind of stuff. All of that's really important. It is, after all, it's a business. YouTube. I don't know if a lot of people understand this, but YouTube direct revenue, it ain't a lot of money, right? Nobody's making a living off
You
of
don't
YouTube.
say.
Nobody has made nobody has made a living strictly off of YouTube in a long time. And I know there are people out there who are like, well, I bet Mr. Beast does. No, he does not. Because in order for you to get big and to have millions and millions of subscribers and millions of views, you have to spend millions and millions of dollars to make the kind of content that's going to get that kind of viewership. So anyway, yeah, but also just like um, you know, I'll geek out over whatever I want, just because I think it's exciting. Um, you're gonna see, you know, new headphones that I think are really important will be on the channel, as well as televisions, as well as sound bars. A lot of people are excited about the Hisense Saturn. Of course, I'm going to jump all over that and compare it to the three theater quad, that kind of thing. But also a few more comparisons. And then, yeah, you know what? I haven't figured out, guys. I haven't figured out if I want to do as many SEO friendly videos, as many guides and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Um, I haven't figured that out, but what I have figured out is that the Q&A video that I like to do on Sundays, that people are familiar with, can't call it what I used to call it anymore because that belongs to my former employer. But I do want to. I'll give you an exclusive. You'll this is the first anybody will have heard about it. But Ask Caleb will be a weekly series on Sundays on the Calibrated channel, where I take viewer
Awesome.
questions and I answer them in a serialized show style format. So you can expect that, and you can expect me to run a live stream from time to time as
I
well.
was just gonna ask.
Um,
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to doing that.
Why? I don't
Oh,
think
is
you have
is
time,
the knit
enough
for
time in the
nerds
day.
yours, Caleb? Is
I'm
the
sorry, I
knit for
heard
nerds
two of
yours?
you at the same time.
Is the knit for nerds yours?
Knit nerds.
Nope,
Knit nerds.
nope. That
Yeah.
also belongs to my former employer.
All right, we can just switch it the other way and just go nerd knits, right? Do something a little play on
I
word.
don't think he wants to play that game.
Yeah, you
We'll
know
do
what?
geeks. I
I
hear you.
one thing that one thing that I absolutely respect is although I did not like it, I respect the ownership of certain elements of what was created on the channel of my former employer. And so things as you mentioned, the you asked and the Knit Nerd series, and the merch and all that other stuff belongs very much to them, and I'm not trying to recreate that or grab it or steal it or fight for it or anything like that. I have nothing but respect for that. And I'm a stand-up guy, right? I have no interest in taking things to the bleeding edge of the law and testing, limits. I'm not into that, and I don't need to. And so yeah, we will come up with a new name for my personal community. I will have I'll have a different outro for my videos. That's another thing, right? I always ended my videos the same way, and I have done so for over 10 years. um, and I'll tell you what, wrapping up the last couple of videos that I shot for Calibrated, it was really hard because I just automatically went into the thing, and you know what I'm talking about. And I was like, wait, I can't do that. I got to come up with something different. So, um, the next, high production video that comes out on the Calibrated channel, which I think will be on Friday. I have a new outro I'm playing around with, and we'll see how people react. And that's the thing,
Mhm.
is that the viewers get to shape stuff a little bit with me. So, if
I'm
you
with
like
you.
something, you tell me, I'll keep it. You don't like something, tell me. I don't have to. I'm not married to it. I won't keep it.
So we have a couple of things we would like to ask you. Obviously, so we have a suggestion from Michael Beckerman, knits for twits. I don't think that's taken. So it's yours, even though it's on this live stream, it is generously given to you. And the next
I
question
don't think
is,
that's taken.
That sounds insulting. Like, nerds and geeks, there can be an endearing quality to it, but
Twit.
my twits just doesn't exactly roll off the tongue.
Almost like, is that taken? No, no, we're good. We can use that one.
yeah,
He's
you're a
checking with
twit.
his lawyers over
I'm a
there. Hey,
twit. I'm a Caleb twit. The next question is, and we have a super chat from Buddy, so I'm going to show that one after. The more relevant question to this content actually is, so you had a chance to watch Brian's video and my attempt, which so far has been a fail, at peeling off the matte screen. So what are your general thoughts on just modding TVs in general? Like people going to the service menu, making it brighter, but again, possibly violating the warranty, or peeling off coatings, or rubbing on snake oil to make sure their TV gets brighter. Generally speaking, what do you think? Have you been encouraging this on Digital Trends, reviewing it yourself? Are you planning to do it with this freedom?
First thing to do with this freedom is destroy the TV.
y'all are crazy. Y'all are crazy. All right, no.
It
Listen.
wasn't me. It was Luke. I put right disclaimer. I didn't do
Oh,
it.
throw
Almost
him
did
under the
it.
bus. Boop.
Excuse me, Mr. Brian. You may have not have started the fire, but you threw gas on it, and so did you, Mr. FOMO. Y'all both
I
be
certainly.
throwing some gas on the fire. Let's not pretend. Let's not pretend.
Caleb,
And
I didn't do
listen,
anything but make a video about it and put it out there in
listen,
the
I
ether.
yeah, little Brian just made a little video about it.
I'm just a
You
cautionary tale.
You threw gas on the fire, fool, and nobody is going to
Never
convince
go.
me otherwise. Listen, here's the deal, and here's my stance. I'll make it very simple. I look, I don't. There's not a whole lot of room for modding in televisions, because I mean, you can do stuff. You can absolutely do stuff, but what you don't know is what you don't know. What did you just screw up? And actually, FOMO, you brought up something interesting that I was going to bring up if you hadn't already brought it up. What else are you removing when you remove that piece of film? What else is in that film except besides the besides part of the anti-glare treatment, right? Is there
Mhm.
UV protection in there? Have y'all seen what happens to clear plastic when sun gets on it for
I
too
already looked
long? It
already
turns
looked
freaking
tan.
yellow. It
Oh,
turns
oh,
yellow,
yep,
right?
yep,
You
yep.
want your TV to turn yellow? It could happen. What else? What else was in that material, right? And how did it affect how the TV was supposed to perform? Can
Hmm.
you correct for all the performance skewing that now happens when you don't have that film in it? Can you correct that at the user level? Can you even correct it at like the technician level, where you get into the service menu and whatnot? Could you even correct it? Is there a service technician on the face of this planet who is going to even touch a TV that is void of warranty? Right? But like if they get paid by manufacturers to take care of things, or if they're aligned with manufacturers in some way, they're putting their businesses in jeopardy potentially. Um, Listen, I think it's fun. I mean, look, if this were a Cybertruck and you were just trying to make it less disgusting by putting a wrap on it, cool, mod it out, but when it comes to the performance of the TV, I'm more concerned about what else changes besides the fact that you just now have a glossy instead of a matte screen. And actually, I think you guys kind of encapsulated the conversation pretty well. The S95F is built to be what it's built to be because Samsung thinks there is an audience for that. And as much as it's frustrating enthusiasts, and I've said this many, many, many times already, as much as it's frustrating enthusiasts because they want the very best QD OLED. They want a Samsung QD OLED that performs at its absolute best and does not have this particular coating on it. I'm really sorry that that particular SKU does not exist in the universe, um, and that it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for Samsung to make two different versions of the S95F, right? Or to make an S93F, or here's an idea, an S95 II. How about that? Should we do that, guys? S95
Yes,
II. Does that
the
sound like two?
S95 I'm behind it. So,
Um, no, I listen, you're destroying the warranty. It doesn't
mhm,
matter whether you think that should destroy the warranty or not. It absolutely will. You
yeah,
will lose
yeah.
that battle. Go to court. You will lose. I will sit there and watch you lose. That's how it goes. Sorry, you're the little guy. You're not winning that battle. Um, I'm just trying to be real. I'm not trying to be a jerk about it. I swear. It's not a war worth waging. Also, when the LG G5 is so stinking amazing. Like if your needs align more along that of an LG G5, excuse me, gonna cough like crazy. Um, you've got the LG G5,
Yep.
that exists. The Bravia 8 Mark II, despite what FOMO hates about the nomenclature there. Also, an excellent TV. And by the way, there are ways to make the Sony deviate from its hail to accuracy and go absolutely bananas bright. We've seen that with the Bravia 9, and I think the Bravia 8 Mark II is also going to be able to do amazing things if you tweak it just right. Guys, there's so many tweaks that don't involve spending 10 hours stripping something off of a panel. By the way, I once thought that I was just removing protective film from a Samsung TV. I was not. and I destroyed that TV. And it was one of the more embarrassing moments in my professional career when I had to call them and say, "Hey, I kind of destroyed your TV. One of the few review samples you had, I screwed it up because I tried to take something off the screen that wasn't meant to be taken off." And so I'll be honest with you, I get triggered just seeing stuff that clearly should not be peeled off of screen getting peeled off of screen. I don't think it's a good
I'm
idea.
sure that was
So
not a
Um,
fun email back then, Caleb.
now
what's
to
that?
that point,
It wasn't a fun email to Samsung back then. You're like, hey, your TV's great. I need you to come back and get it. Uh, I took some
well,
protective film off.
I think this is where we have an enthusiast community, which is what I love. Like between the three of us, we would never do it. Other than I'm doing it just because I have too many TVs. I want to see what it's like from my own personal experience. But I definitely recommended others not do it. But more importantly, though, this defines the true enthusiast who are willing to ask, "Should I?" rather than, "Oh, I would never touch it." Right. So that enthusiasm is what I love. Especially like, you know what? I'm gonna get another TV. Rather than giving this to my cousin, let me peel it off and then give it to him, and then laugh at him, right? So to that point, it
What a white
requires
elephant gift.
the right
You show
element.
up
Look
to
at
the
mine.
white elephant party and you give
I
them a
don't
Nerf
understand.
TV.
He's like, I can't wipe my
Oh,
Now,
fingerprints off the screen. What happened?
now we have a question for Caleb to test your chops on what is happening in the world of TV technology. So, Caleb, you're always on the next cutting edge tech. What do you have? What T do you have on this general purpose media interface, the GPMI HDMI alternative? So it was announced in China that they're sick of HDMI organization being so slow to bring out high bandwidth. They created their own interface that competes with HDMI that is like triple, quadruple the bandwidth, really high bandwidth that you can do 16K plus whatever. And you could also deliver power. Basically, it combines the best of USB Thunderbolt 10 with HDMI all in one plug as the master universal plug for everything video, graphic, power, data related. With that in mind, what are your thoughts on that?
I have so many thoughts. And I am, you know what? I'll still make a video about this for the Calibrated channel. But it's been a plan of mine to talk about this on the new channel. Um, First of all, it's a really the specs on this cable are super, not cable, the standard, the connection standard are really impressive. I put it to the test, right? I looked at their max bandwidth and I was like, okay, what can we shove down that pipe? And I looked at 4K 240, 444 chroma. I looked at 8K 60, 444 chroma. With FRS, without FRS. I it can do far more than we will need it to do for a decade, right? It
Mm-hmm,
is
mm-hmm.
there are no bottlenecks on this sucker. I'm imagining like the very best video with completely uncompressed, I mean completely uncompressed multi-channel audio. I mean it Yeah, it's really, really impressive. Um, I'd like to see it come to fruition. I will also say there are two different connector styles. I think a lot of people have seen those pictures, right? One of them, it looks like the USB-C cable that we're familiar with, and one of them looks like a slightly larger connection point. That USB-C style connection will never work for
Mm-hmm.
AV equipment. The cables are too long. Sometimes it's too heavy. There's no strain relief involved in the connection itself. And so forget about connecting your devices with a fancy slim USB-C cable. I just don't think that's a good idea. I don't think it'll
Mm-hmm.
hold up over time. Here's the problem. You guys know how it is when we have entrenched standards, right? Stuff that has been around for a really, really long time. We also know how incredibly, I mean, look, you might as well ask the US to go metric. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have so many people who have grown up around the metric standard, or I'm sorry, the British standard that they'll never just no, never go metric. In the same way, the the consumer electronics industry is massive. The supply chain situation, it's hard to move mountains around this. Um, and I will say that I mean, well, Classy just Classy just said it for me. Until digital copy protection is made part and parcel of this, it will not exist. It will not get support from anyone because everyone in the consumer electronics industry has an interest in supporting copy protection, or the whole thing falls apart, right? Um, and that is true. Like, we could probably do a whole episode about why digital copy protection is actually really important, even though we loved our Napster days and we love our BitTorrent days and everything else. And there's a lot of people out there with illegal copies of their content sitting on their media servers. I'm not saying that isn't fun. Uh, I am saying it's important for us to own our media. And so, like, I'll give you your copy protection if you give me ownership of my media. How about that? But um, I think that that cable has a tremendous amount of, I'm sorry, I keep saying cable, and I mean the connection, the whole ecosystem, right? I think it has tremendous potential. I agree that the HDMI, there's two arms of the HDMI organization, and I don't want to target the wrong one unfairly. And so I will say the arm of the HDMI organization that is responsible for ratifying the standards and coming through with the next iteration or standard for HDMI. They are bad at communication. They are slow. They I can't remember if it's the interest group or which. I don't want to target the wrong arm. There are good people involved with the HDMI, and then there are completely inept folks involved
Hmm.
with HDMI. And that just doubles the frustration, triples the frustration, right? Because if you're going to be the dominant standard, at least be nimble and quick and adapt. And I haven't seen that happen for a really, really long time. You know how, like, we love to complain about HDMI consumer electronics control, CEC protocol,
Hmm.
being just utterly broken for
Right.
decades now?
Right.
Where else in consumer electronics is this remotely acceptable?
Hmm.
Nowhere. You
Yep.
imagine Apple made something that was buggy and broke and never ever worked and didn't even and just never fixed it, they'd be eviscerated. They would not
Yeah.
be where they are today.
Yeah.
So
People still getting
um
audio dropouts on modern TV and sound bars. Literally, 2024 models still dropouts. It doesn't make sense.
or one thing turning the other thing on when it shouldn't, or sometimes it turns it on and sometimes it doesn't turn it on, or this Denon works with this Samsung TV. Oh, but try and connect that Denon to a Sony TV and you're screwed. Like, that kind of thing, like, just has no place in the industry after as many years as that protocol has existed. And so, yeah, I would love to see shift in the industry. I would say this, maybe the best thing that comes out of the China developed, I'm sorry, it starts with a G. What is it again? What's the acronym? I keep thinking GDPR, which is not remotely related. You know what I'm talking about. uh GWRM, what is it? Somebody save me here.
Which one?
The cable connection standard, what is it called? It's a four
GPMI.
letter acronym.
GPMI.
Yeah.
No, no, the other one.
um
Oh,
whatever it is we're talking about anymore. I
The
think the best
the
thing that could come of it is,
GPMI.
thank you. I
This
think the
one.
best thing that could come out of GPMI is the fact that it pushes HDMI to get their
Hmm.
act together.
Yes.
Um, so you know what? I welcome it. Let it be a part of the conversation.
Yep.
Let it rock the boat a little bit. Let it wake up the HDMI organization. I mean, what better way to wake up the HDMI organization than to take the frustration with HDMI out of the forums and the YouTube comments and into the public sphere because this new competitor exists? I think that's great.
And this is a great question because we don't often talk about audio. Thank you, AJ, for the super chat. Random off topic for all the creators. What is your favorite go to song for listening to a new set of speakers to test them out? So I'll start since my answer won't be too long. And then Caleb, since you used to be a co-founder of a speaker company, I'll be very curious to see what you say. So I used to listen and review so many speakers, and then I realized I never want to review speakers again. But I put them through a battery of tests for myself personally, and it can never be one song because depending on the frequency I'm listening to, whether it's sound staging, vocals, air, or the bass, how low do I go, it has to be a different song. There is no single song that does all that to test speakers. And I still have a bunch of speakers here that one day I thought I would review, but I said, it all sounds the same to me. They all sound great. What's the point? So, with that answer as my answer, which is no single song can really get a set of speakers to truly show its personality. What is your response? What is your favorite go-to song for listening to a new set of speakers to test them out? Well, I didn't really give it an answer though. I end up playing Rush at the end because I just enjoy listening to Rush. So, so I don't know if that is,
I don't know
or
if I had
Diana
you pegged as
Krall,
a rough.
right? Get killed at a show. Oh, Diana Krall again. Okay, go ahead, Caleb.
Yeah, Diana Krall was a big one. Nora Jones was a big one back in the
Nora
day.
Jones.
Dire Straits, the Money for Nothing album, also a big one. I want to hear from Brian first. Brian, what when you're testing
It's
audio, what are you all
me.
about?
It's me and the home theater guy. It's all movies. So for me, it's primarily movies and movie soundtracks. I don't really listen to music. I don't listen to channel. So I'm always bumping movies, and that's I'm a big surround guy. So a little cool in the gang.
Yeah.
I love it.
Hey, brother, listen.
I love it.
Man, I
Little
got
Paula
massive love
Abdul.
for Cool in the Gang. I play a lot of Cool in the Gang
Love me some
songs
cool in the
with my
gang.
band.
Some Marvin Gaye. Ain't afraid.
Yep. You
So
know,
cool.
FOMO is absolutely right here. You can't test set of speakers with just one song. I understand the spirit of AJ's question, though, right? Like, everybody's got to have a go-to. Like, if you're testing a set of speakers, like, there's always one song that you always listen to. Um, Gosh, honestly, I have a bunch. But one that just keeps coming up over and over and over is Fleetwood Mac's The Chain.
Yep.
Excellent.
And I'll
Yeah.
tell you, it is the most organic, straight up recording of a Fender, I think it was a P bass, electric P bass, that I've ever heard. The kick drum on that recording will, depending on the system you're listening to, when it comes in, it will blow you out of the room and punch you in the chest. Also, the transients on the guitar, amazing. There's a lot to get from that, and it's also big and it's spacious. So there's a lot that you
Hmm.
can get out of just that one song, and I enjoy it very much. There's also some George Benson stuff, stuff that's produced by Quincy Jones, like I know it inside and out. That I love. There's so much, and then newer groups like Couch, um, and that I'm really enjoying right now. Uh, God, yeah, I have a lot. I have a lot. There's the Toto's Rosanna, both in two-channel
Oh.
and multi-channel SACD. Lot of horns on that. Lot of everything. Distorted guitar, clean guitar, vocals, chorus. Like it's got a bunch of everything. That's another one that's really, really, really good. I got a million of them. Like you see it behind me. I've got, I don't know, 4,000 records here.
Well, for those
Um,
that don't know, you play the trumpet, right?
yeah.
You're
Yep.
you're a
I'm a
trumpet. You're
professional trumpet
professional,
player.
professional,
Yep.
and you used to run a speaker company. So this is why his answer is so thorough.
I can't just pick one because I want people to know that I have good taste. I want people to know that I have a diverse taste. Like, it's a
Hmm.
trick question. It's not fair.
I love
So,
it.
but you
Well, you
see,
know what?
you
Go
get a
ahead.
chance. You get a chance to really hear Caleb share his knowledge. Is what this is really all about. Real quick, not to interrupt, but please take a second to go. I just put it in the chat again. Please go and subscribe to Caleb's new channel. We're enjoying the conversation. It's amazing to have Caleb here. We'll get back to our regular scheduled program, but please take a minute, go over to his channel. FOMO, put it in the link again for me. We'll just keep putting it in the chat. Go over to his
Mm-hmm.
channel, sub, and then support our boy, because this is the kind of content you're going to get from him. You're going to be able to see him share his thoughts beyond just a review. Talk more openly, and he'll be doing live streams, and he's got a lot to say. So
Oh,
I'm
oh
enjoying it.
yeah.
But please take time to go sub to him.
Absolutely. And we have a few super chats we're going to get caught up with. And so this time we'll have FOMO's nickel and cents to contribute. Kai asks, how far out do you think we are from 8K QD OLED? I think we are very far out, so far out that it's never going to happen, because by the time it happens, we'll be moving on to another technology. So I don't think 8K OLED is going to happen anytime soon. Personally, the expense to popularity ratio, it's just not there. But I could be wrong. Kayla, what are your thoughts on 8K OLED? I'll even open it further. It doesn't have to be QD OLED, but just 8K OLED advanced technology in general.
But we had 8K OLED, right?
Yeah,
We
The LG, yeah,
yeah,
Z3.
and I don't think they sold very many of them. 8K
Mm-mm.
QD OLED. If we're getting that specific, I mean, it's a business decision, right? I will say that its its mere possibility is increased by nature of the fact that Samsung holds the keys on this, right? Samsung Electronics is the last holdout on 8K TVs, period. And they're not quitting on them. And Samsung Display, which feeds Samsung Electronics, will make whatever Samsung Electronics says it wants to buy, and then hope it sells it to other people. So I suppose that the possibility that just sorry, how do I want to put this? It's only a possibility because Samsung is who Samsung is, and Samsung Display is who they are, and it could happen. Is it likely? I don't really think so. I don't
Right.
really think so. I do know I want to get away from LCD if we're going to start talking about 8K, because 8K, and we see this right now. LCD nurse 8K brightness. The aperture is so tiny, the brightness can't get through. That's
Mm-hmm.
why Samsung's flagship 8K TV is nowhere near as bright as its non-flagship 4K TVs. It can't
Mm-hmm.
be.
Yep.
And I mean, well, no, that's not true. It can be
yeah,
as
Sony
bright,
did it.
but
But it would break.
it's going to require so much power that it
Yep.
will break every power consumption regulation on the planet, not just Europe's, which is
Yep.
extremely strict. So
Yep.
Which is why,
that
I
yeah.
think Sony stopped with the Z9G and the Z9K. I think that's why they stopped doing it, Kale, because their TVs were bright, but they just were unwieldy as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Now, next up, Ernie, Super Chat. Thank you. He needs help replacing his 85-inch Q90A in his basement. Should I go with the 83-inch G5 or wait for the 85-inch Sony RGB next year, or pray and wait for a true 83-inch QD OLED to come out? Okay, so next year, if the 85-inch Sony RGB LED comes out, it will be way more expensive, I think, than an 83-inch OLED G5. And I don't know if it'll come out as an 85 first. It may come out as a 98 first. So keep holding your breath. I think the prices will be really up there for its first generation next technology, big thing, innovation. 83-inch G5 is amazing. I don't know that 83-inch QD OLED will be that much better. Seeing it side by side with, just different sizes, 77 and 65, I felt that the G5 more than held its own against the Samsung S95F. So if the S95F is at 83 inches, I don't know the G5 is that much of a disadvantage. I mean, if 83-inch G5 right now is here for you, and the improvement, you have to have the right content. If you're watching Netflix, Disney Plus, YouTube, whatever, you're not going to see the differences unless it's Jennifer Gala's content, right? That really pushes their TVs. And so to that point, I say get the 83-inch G5 and enjoy the hell out of it. And then in 5 years, 7 years, replace it. But Caleb and Brian may disagree. What do you guys think?
That's my plan. I have it coming.
Yeah, so you already ordered the 83-inch G5 rather than waiting, right? Because you have an 83-inch, and you're
Yeah.
like, G5 is so good. Caleb?
Yeah, it's coming this week. So I made my choice.
I mean, I'll say this. I mean, 83-inch G5 all the way, because I think that you can get the four stack at the 83. in that G5, and it's phenomenal. But also, like, let's just set the expense aside, which you paint very clearly, FOMO. The whatever sizes they come out as, the RGB mini LEDs are going to be very expensive. Setting expensive aside, I don't want to buy the first gen of any technology
Right.
ever. I just don't. I don't want the first gen version. That's just never the way to go. Like, I'm sure there's some math out here that proves my point, and I don't have it. But like, I imagine a very high percentage of the bugs of a new technology are usually addressed by the second gen of that technology, and then after Gen 2 is when you just start getting iterative improvements, right? I think the
Hmm.
biggest leap happens between Gen 1 and Gen 2. Gen 1 is basically your beta testers,
Hmm.
right? Your public beta tester. Gen 2 is the safe play. And then after that, it's iterative improvements. And so if you want to be an early adopter, be an early adopter and spend a lot of money and do it. But I still say do it on Gen 2.
I, that sounds like a plan, and I would do the same. I kind of consider the G5 almost Gen 1, but it's still
Oh yeah.
WOLED because it still looks pretty polished. But who knows? Maybe G6 will be slightly better.
And for me, I don't mind doing that because Gen 2 of MLA was the last gen.
That is
So,
true. Now, here's a great question that I know I don't do. I don't know about you guys. So, hi from the UK. I appreciate all your advice. I've had two top of the line OLEDs fail me after only 3 months. Will you be looking at reliability? So, as a reviewer, unlike Ratings, who literally has a warehouse of every TV they've ever bought and reviewed, and they hold on to it and they continue testing it, I can hold on to it for about a year. And the thing is, it's
yeah.
a lottery as well, whether your TV fails. I have yet to have one TV fail. My first Hisense had a brown smudge, which was replaced by Hisense. Under warranty, none of my other TVs failed. So if I have a great experience with the TVs, though, there's no guarantee you will. And that's another problem with TV ownership is, let's say they sell 1 million TVs and it's a 1% fail rate. 1% is really low, but if you're in the 1%, that's really high. And the problem
That
is
sucks.
my experience, and let's say my TVs do fail, I can't tell you not to get it just because mine failed, right? So for me, I think Consumer Report does it right. They do a survey, then 100,000 people respond, and they try to measure that survey, use statistical analysis, and see how good that is. But I just personally cannot do a reliability because I don't think it's a reflection and with the precision and accuracy you guys are looking for. But Brian, Caleb, you guys, what are your thoughts on reliability as part of your review?
It's impossible. There is no reliability testing, and even Ratings can't do it with their huge warehouse. Because it's a numbers game, right? It's a sample size, and the only way to judge it is the ultimate lag into indicator. If I want to use corporate speak, right? So there is no way to gather this information until a huge amount of a product has shipped out to people and people start reporting the problems, because use case, the intensity of how it was used. I mean, there's so many different variables that go into this. The fact that Kev here had two top of the range OLEDs fail on him, we don't know the full story there. Were they the same model of OLED? Were they, if so, was it from the same shipment to the same
Same
distributor to
lot.
the same
To the same.
retailer? Was it
Hmm.
part of a bad batch? Is that
Yep.
actually paint a picture of a failing with that particular TV in general, or did it come from? Are we going to narrow it down to a factory, right? Especially now
Hmm.
with tariffs being what they are, we're going to
Right.
start. You need to start understanding that TVs are going to come from different places on purpose, right? So, are we going to say that TV model ZH2 is unreliable, period, because one factory made it poorly or where there was too much moisture in the chassis or something like that? Or are we going to get very specific and say ZH2 from the Vietnam factory of that particular brand is unreliable? Like, it's just well, first of all, as reviewers, there's no way for us to talk about reliability, period. So
Right.
there's the answer to the question. But also, I don't want to answer the question. I want you to think about how massive gauging reliability is. You have to have a massive sample size. You have to have a lot of people reporting in. Remember, we only hear about this the very vocal minority. Like you said, FOMO, if you're part of that 1%, you're pissed and you're
Yeah,
loud about it. And you feel like your experiences is probably like other people's experiences. And you get even more pissed when you find out that no, dude, it's just you. You're the one who had the problem. I'm so sorry. I am
yeah.
so sorry. That sucks. But to feel like you're the one who got singled out for this crap experience, that makes it even worse, right? We don't love to hear that. So,
Well, I
sorry,
had
I
it
do
happen.
tend to go on.
So I had it happen with a TV you reviewed, Caleb, and I did it at 78 inches, the KS 9800. That TV was
The
$12,000.
not
So I had that
9800,
TV.
dude.
Yeah. So I
I'm
had
amazed
11.
that you still watched me after that. Like you could have
Yeah.
just blamed me for recommending an absolute garbage TV. We never would have
So
been
I had
friends. I wouldn't be
so
here
yeah.
right now.
So
I
I
love
had
it.
11 of them, but even when I started the channel, I couldn't condemn Samsung because, as you mentioned, they sell the most TVs, and that was a small percentage of what they sell. So, considering how many TVs they sell, even if that failure rate seems high, they still outnumber sales of everybody else's TVs by how much? As far as reliability tests, it's impossible for us. You need time to do longevity. So
Mhm.
ratings does the best as far as letting their TV just run. You still would need the hours and the time, and that's not even realistic usage.
Or
So
worse
it would
yet,
take
Brian,
2 years for me to tell you that it
the,
worked or didn't work.
and that's the point is, let's say after a year, you have the answer. Let's just say you do it. The TV is no longer for sale, so it's no longer relevant. So what? You're gonna go to eBay and buy
Yeah,
them
and
used,
to
right? It's
Caleb's
so
point,
it
so
doesn't help.
running
It's
them
like
24 hours a day to create the real use case doesn't work either. You're pushing that TV harder than it's ever been pushed. I understand the burn-in test, but to your
Hmm.
point, Caleb and FOMO, I can't give you longevity without really giving you 2 years and saying, yeah, you're good to go. The U8H is great. Go back. Oh, it's not available anymore. So, I mean, it's impossible.
also how much does it suck to find out after this reliability test has been conducted, assuming it's been conducted in a way that yields meaningful results? How much does it suck to find out a year after you bought your TV that it's probably going to die in a year? Oops.
You're out of
Oops.
warranty. You can't return it, right?
Give the diagnosis. Yeah, you're screwed. Sorry, it's
I
going to
love
die
it.
in 2 months.
And this
What a
question
bummer.
is directed towards Caleb. Dyslexic.
Cable.
Awesome video. Good to see the three of you together. Very entertaining. Caleb, congrats on your new endeavor. Same to you, FOMO and Brian. Question for Caleb. Hisense RGB Mini LED or the Sony RGB LED? Which one would you choose?
Great question.
I'm not going to play your trick games here.
There's no more
No,
embargo. Caleb, come on.
first off, I mean, honestly, I'm not going to answer that question. All right, it would be irresponsible for me to do so, but I'll tell you why, just so you don't feel like I'm summarily dismissing you. I don't know how Hisense is going to employ its technology. Um, I have well, all three of us have a pretty good feel for how Sony says it's going to deploy its technology, but we still haven't seen it in real life. I don't know how much it's going to cost, and
Hmm.
I'll tell you what. So what if Hisense gets, let's say, and purely speculative, let's say Hisense gets 92% of the way as Sony does towards something that we love, right? But does so at 65% of the cost.
Yep.
That sways my decision. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Hmm.
Like if I want that RGB mini LED so bad and I'm willing to spend some good money for it, but I'm faced with that, like, do I get the one that's like 93% of the way to perfection? Um and it costs me way less money, or do I just break the bank and maybe my daughter doesn't go to college, but I own a Sony? Like, I don't know. I'm not ready to make that decision until I've seen them, and I know the cost to performance ratio. I will always have to put cost to performance in that ratio into my calculus for what I buy. I will say, look, we all know it. Sony's got the best processing on the planet. Even still, even with LG and catching up to them, I think I just tend to like the way Sony TVs look. I am a big Sony fan. Everybody knows that. But money will get in the way at a certain point.
Yep, no, I agree. And before we jump into AB's super chat, thank you, AB, for waiting. I have to give an update regarding my peeling the S95D's anti-glare matte coating. As I stand here, I'm feeling faint because the fumes from that peel, that's only 15 feet away, I am smelling this plastic. And I'm like, okay, I gotta leave the studio in about 10 minutes. Otherwise, I'm just gonna pass out from the toxic
Oh, is it
whatever
really
that's
that?
coming
See,
out of
this
that.
is what
So this is
happens.
what
The
Caleb
next
was
thing you
talking about.
know, people are gonna, it's what you don't know. Next thing you know, you're gonna have mesothelioma and there's gonna have to be a class action lawsuit. Like, just don't. Also, can look, we know poor FOMO. He's gonna have to like make a makeshift mask. We might as
Don't
well
even
put
say
a freaking
mesothelioma to me. I didn't even
let's
think about
we
mesothelioma.
Almost gonna
we
be the
gotta
next
put
Breaking
a
Bad. You know they're making something in the back. Cooking. You cooking?
I'm gonna open
it's
the
like
window.
your OLED is glossy, but also you're starting to see little green men and you might die. Like, I don't know about that trade-off. You might as well just hold a rag of ether over your face while you're trying to
That's
look at the
exactly what
specular
it is.
highlights. Those specular highlights look.
And I never even got to that caveat, right? Because I'm like, oh, okay. So there's a fourth warning. As you can see, Caleb has now passed out from the toxins that's wafted from
Your TV made me pass out.
go to Portland,
You're gonna
Oregon.
see
I
his
love it.
your screen's gonna start moving.
So now we get to AB's question. This is a great question. Is there a huge difference going from an 83-inch G2 to the 83-inch G5? I want to upgrade. The answer is absolutely yes. You are going to a much brighter TV, right? Even going from a G2 to a G3, G4 with MLA would have been a huge jump. Going to G5, boom. It's now. If you're watching Columbo, the answer is no. If
Columbo
you're
test,
watching
baby.
sports, right? If you're watching Columbo, accurate, whatever,
I
you
love that
know,
Columbo is your pick.
it
Like of
is
all
Yeah.
Brian.
the all the old
Columbo
school
was my
TV
thing.
shows, you
You know,
pick
Columbo,
Columbo. That's an
Ash,
interesting pick.
Yeah, no,
I
absolutely.
personally, a
Columbo
lot
the
of people
color of the
know that
jacket.
I like to bring up chips a
Oh,
lot,
I used to
Oh,
watch
and
what?
that. Yes.
What?
Ponch and
Motion
John, y'all, a
for
lot of
motion resolution.
yep,
Little
chips.
Strata.
It was either Chips, A Team, or Knight Rider. Take your pick.
Dukes of
Yeah,
I'm
Hazard.
nice.
dating
Dukes of
myself.
Hazard. Dukes of
Boy.
Hazard.
Dukes.
Yep.
I wasn't allowed to
Daisy.
watch Dukes of Hazzard
No, because of
as a
Daisy.
kid.
So
Yep.
I would say
Like I'm busy. I watch one by myself.
now for gaming for sure, I'd say take the jump to the G5 as well. Sports brightness, G5 definitely destroys the G2. If you need hockey to preserve its, whatever, it's 400 nits of brightness full screen that you want. And what generation is Bravia Cam on? It is still on its first generation, my friend. So, but AB, you watch us enough, HDR impact, G5 destroys the G2. But if it's SDR and it doesn't you don't need it too bright, the G2 is definitely fine. And we got a couple more super. Hey, how long do we have you for, Caleb? I don't want to hold you on too long so that
Oh, you
people
caught
know.
the not so subtle. Look at the watch. I should probably go, guys. I should
All
go.
right, let's do
Um,
that.
but I did want to say before I hop, thank you so much for having me again. I appreciate the love and the support that you guys have shown me, both like in person in real life, but also through the community, through YouTube, through Instagram. Um, and thank you for making this happen. I feel like I've been dreaming of this for a really long time, and being here with you guys was a big part of that. So thanks for
Awesome.
letting me come on and speak with your audience. And yeah, let's I look, I want Caleb Rated to get to 100,000 subscribers faster than well, just faster than anything else. I would love to set a record. I really, really would. Um, and it's not just because I want that silver play button. That's not the only reason why. Um, I promise. But no, anything that anybody is willing to do to help hasten just spreading the word and letting people know. And clearing up some of the confusion, you know, about my brand associations and stuff like that. Really, really appreciate it. So
Awesome.
thank you guys. And yeah, I would love to get together again soon. So hit me up and let me know for the next one.
Guys,
Absolutely,
don't
Caleb.
forget to go to Caleb's channel. Check him out. Go sub now, please, and let's support and pass the word around.
Thank you, Caleb.
And
Awesome.
stop. You're welcome. Stop modding your TV. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Caleb.
Later, Caleb.
All right, that was fun. And
All right.
one more
We're ready to do
super
a
chat,
little
and
wrap
I'm
up.
caught up. Awesome job as
All right.
usual. All three together is a plus. Thank you, J Steph, for that generous super chat. I'll make sure Caleb gets his cut the next time I see him. Buy him a cup of coffee. Oh, just speaking of buying a cup of coffee, I have to tell you the story. I was with B the installer. We were in Tokyo, Japan, and B's like, "Hey, Flomo,
I missed this.
he's like, Flomo's like, Flomo, I owe
I'm
you
so
a couple
glad
of
I missed
bucks."
this.
He's like, "I owe you a couple of bucks. Why don't I get you some coffee?" I go, "Yeah, let's go over there. It looks like a little boutique coffee store." I look on Yelp. Yeah, it's got 5 stars, whatever. And it has like $3 marks next to it. Must be, it's a little expensive. Oh no, I can afford it. We come out, $200 for 2 cups of coffee. And like I
So
had an affogato, and he's all like, because he's not converting the yen, he's like, "Oh, it can't be like that much." And he does the math. Oh my God, it's like $80 per cup. I'm like, "Oh, I guess that slowly cut you up to what you
so I'm on
wanted
the
to
street.
pay me back for."
So
But is
I'm
that
on the street,
crazy?
and these guys are like, "Hey, I'm gonna grab some coffee. Want to go?" I'm like, "No, I don't really drink coffee." And Brandon goes, "At least I got a photo shoot out of it." And he's like, "That was over $200." But they didn't want you guys filming them making it, right? Something like that.
Oh no, that would have been extra. We could have, but like if we filmed them, you'd have to give them like another $5. But the coffee was
Wow.
good. Don't get me wrong. But I was like, wow. For the 3 coffees and whatnot, it was like over $200. And Brandon's like, okay, next time I'm gonna do the conversion before we walk into the store, right? And the guy kept
Yeah, no doubt.
and the guy kept asking, "Is this okay?" And because we had extra shots, right? Apparently, every shot was probably an extra $30. I didn't even know about that.
Oh,
So that
every
was
time
kind of
you bought
crazy.
something in Japan, FOMO, I was like, "What does this convert to?" You're like, wow, no, that's a couple $1,000s." I was like, "Oh, okay, we're not buying that one."
Now let's wrap up our modding your TV. So for those that just joined us, and any questions about this S95F, S95D, or whatever, it all started with Luke. I don't know if he's still here, but he is clearly an expert at removing the film. But assuming you do remove the film successfully, right? You don't break your TV, you don't bend it like I've been doing it if you watch my video, and you successfully remove it, is the improvement worth it? So what are you walking into? So I'll be doing that after I finish removing it, which gets me to, is it worth it? Right now, I don't think so. What I'm seeing so far, that I only have it partway removed. The biggest difficulty really is that whole process of removing it. Just keep that in mind. And once you remove it, get rid of that peel. I'm like feeling faint. It's releasing toxins into the air that I am just sniffing. And this is a huge room. My studio is like 45 by 30 feet, and I'm like way away from my TV. I gotta get
Well, I
out of
mean,
here. But
FOMO,
it's insane.
you did it for like 4 hours. I'll say Luke had a mask on, and his place was
Well, I
definitely
thought he had a mask on because he was afraid of catching COVID. I didn't know he had a mask on because he didn't want to
legit.
die.
He
There's
looked like he
no
was in a
warning
body
about
shop.
dying.
Yeah.
So,
My boy was
so
rocking flip
wait. The
flops. He's
warning:
not afraid.
you will void your warranty, and your health insurance may not cover this. So that's
I'm fairly certain it's because you've been in the room with it for freaking 5 hours. So, and you have no ventilation there, but I'd probably open the door real quick, go outside.
no. I'm getting out of here. It's my face is flushing because of the gas, I think. But
Holy crap.
but so to end this, just get the G5 for a similar price, the Bravia 8II, or the Samsung S90F, or enjoy the matte screen. Right now, I cannot make the recommendation to peel it off because it may be a health hazard if you don't get rid of that peel immediately. And yeah, so modding your TVs. Brian, now that we've had time to think on it, are you planning
Well, I
to do
mean,
this with any of your Samsung TVs?
no. I mean, I wouldn't have done it anyway. I mean, because that's not my thing. I accept the TVs as they are, and I like the matte screen for what it does, but I
Hmm.
wouldn't personally buy it because I don't love the effect. And from what we've seen, but again, it's a lot like, would you paint your car or wrap your car? Luke, there's Luke right there.
Oh,
Um,
now
so
he tells, oh no, you got to get it off and throw it out.
it's like being in Chernobyl. He's like,
All my hamsters rolled over and died when I didn't do it the first time I did it. I came back, all my birds were dead.
he's like in Chernobyl. Nah, just throw it in the corner. Oh my god! Don't put it
or
under your bed.
who was it? One of our viewers, she accidentally sprayed insecticide on her TV.
Inside it. Oh my god.
That was
Um,
crazy.
I would say that honestly, if I was an enthusiast that had a 55 or 65-inch TV and I knew somebody like Luke, I would rock it. But I say in the video, I don't recommend it. I just think people need to. I just want to give people an option because that TV is not being purchased by enthusiasts, and I thought it was a fascinating piece of. Yeah, I wouldn't do it. I'd have somebody like Luke. Luke did it very quickly, but I wouldn't recommend doing it. I said that right in the beginning of the video and throughout the video, but I had to share it because I thought it was fascinating.
Yes. And no, it is fascinating and it's worth informing our viewers, right? Just like people who buy a Cybertruck and drive it over a cliff. No, don't do that, right? So we're doing here, we're here for you. This is a consumer public service announcement. I do have to go open the window real quick. Now, before we go, I want to remind everyone, this weekend I'm flying to
This is the
Valley
closest I've
Electronics.
seen you be. This is the closest I've seen you being drunk. By the way, you're like, I really got to open the window. Oh,
No, yeah, like Ken's like, don't light a cigarette,
your
right?
eyes are completely right.
You guys are
Momo
like,
was going to come down this weekend, but it didn't work out.
so this weekend, live stream, you're going to see how good the Bravia 8II is. And we're going to have all the TVs firmware updated. Apparently the G5 is amazing with its new fix of the shadow, I guess the near shadow issues that they had
Yeah.
in the UK. So I've asked Robert and their team to update the firmware. Hopefully it has reached us. But now,
Yep.
just prediction real quick before we leave, Brian. What do you think the Bravia 8II brings to the table? I mean, we saw what Samsung did, right? Which is that, color saturation, but not as bright as the G5. You think it will be as bright as the Samsung, less bright than the Samsung, or brighter than the Samsung, and more like the G5?
I just love your whole. Bruv, I can't wait till we're hanging out with Sony and you're like, come on.
I
Um,
texted Sony that my thoughts on that, and what I got back was crickets.
yeah, it was like return to sender. I think from what, as we've all said, we've seen the Bravia 8 Mark II, II 11, 711. We've seen it compared to everything from last year, and we've seen every TV at different events compared to last year's competitor. The G5 and the S95F are the only TVs we've seen against current models, and they were each other, and we thought they were very close. If there's anything, uh, if there's anything that I think Sony will add, it will not be brightness. From what I saw from
Hmm.
the Bravia Mark II in Japan, it was really detail, which I think that cognitive processor, the XR Clear, all that stuff is going to be enhanced. They might be doing more of that extra processing. FOMO, you better wrap it up. But I don't think it's going to be brightness. I think it's going to be detail.
And to that point,
You gotta go, bro. Just
I actually sent the Sony team, the link to Vincent's intro of his review of the S95F, where he alleges that Sony is holding the brightness back in order not to jeopardize the Bravia 9. And like, what? Who's saying that? I go, Vincent, your buddy. And he's like, what? I go, look, I'm going to compare them this next weekend. You tell your team, update that firmware. Otherwise, I don't know what to tell you. And so Sony knows. They can't say, oh, we didn't know. So yeah, it's going to be fun this weekend, guys. We're going to have a lot of fun.
So I'll be there either today or tomorrow to unbox it. It should arrive before the weekend, so you'll get an unboxing. You'll get shorts from me, and we'll get that up before we arrive, and then we'll get right into action streaming, and we'll do all day like we did last week or a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We'll try to get it done maybe in 6.5 hours this time instead of 7.5. Give us a little time to eat dinner, but it'll probably be close to 7. Okay, my friends, thank you for showing up and watching me pass out. It's all for the kids. Until next time. Until next time. Hopefully I come back.
Hopefully there's a next time.